call this Blighted Property Review Committee meeting to order. Mr. Secretary, you could take roll.
Yes. Mr. Yerkowitz?
Here.
Mr. Spiker?
He's coming in right now.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Ms. Peterson?
Here.
Ms. King? Mr. Ulig is absent. Mr. Horton?
Here.
Mr. Snipper is present. All right. Mr. Benny?
Present.
Mr. Sayers or Sowers is
You need to
on.
leave one there, don't you?
Kevin
I have mine down there.
Price.
You know,
Mine down.
just gonna let yours go.
All right, next is the approval of the minutes from April 8th meeting. Is there any corrections or amendments to that? All right, hearing none, can I have approval for the minutes of the meetings as presented?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay? Okay. We'll now open the floor to public comment. Is there any public comment?
Nope, doesn't appear so.
No? Okay. All those in favor of accepting public comment?
No, you're good.
Okay. All right. Secretary's report.
All right, so as of last meeting, we have 269 blighted properties on the blighted property list. 34 of those properties are under the control of the Redevelopment Authority or the Land Bank. The 17 properties the Land Bank acquired at the judicial tax sale, deeds have been filed, so the Land Bank now has control of those properties. We're going to start evaluating those and making determinations of the outcomes of those properties. So any of those blighted properties that were acquired, I believe there was 8, will be evaluated and mitigated accordingly. So that's my report.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee related to the report?
I move that we accept the Secretary's report as presented.
I second it. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Okay. New business.
Old
Properties declared for declaration for blight.
Old business.
Old business.
Oh, sorry about that. Old business, is there any old business?
Yep, we have one property for rescission of blight. It's a property that's been rehabbed. I'll give Aaron a second to pop up some photos for the committee. But this property, the address is 1348 West 10th Street. It's a single family home. It's a big brick house on 10th Street. It's been sitting vacant for quite some time, but the new owner got a hold of the property, got all the utilities turned on, had building permits, electrical permit, plumbing permits. All of those permits were inspected and finalized. Inspections were all passed, and I did my final rescind inspection just earlier this week to get some photos for everybody to see the rehab. And this is another property that I can happily say that we saved, and we kept it on 10th Street. And it's actually, I believe the owner is considering moving into the house because he's so happy with what he did with it that he probably wants to, he said he's likely going to move in.
Is that it for old business?
Yep, that's all I have for old business.
I'll make a motion to rescind.
I'll second. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, now we'll move on to new business.
All right, we have some properties here for declaration of blight. The first property I have to present to the committee is 339 East 7th Street. This property has been owned by the current owner since 2011. And well, it was actually, I'm looking at my notes here, it was actually owned by the current owner's brother since 2011. And they were looking through a lot of notes and history over the years from the code enforcement officers in the past. I noticed that the current owner was also a property manager for the brother, but then the property ended up just changing over to the current owner's name. They're overdoing taxes for 2024 and 2025 for $2,441. There's no Penelec service there, and the water has been off since 2007. So the property's been vacant for almost 20 years. They owe $1,353 to the water company. This property has been sitting vacant for a number of years. We've had 4 cases all time. We had a lot of history with the property from 2006 to 2010 with citations, no progress. There was a point in time where in 2013 there was some permits pulled for some work, but inspections were never done. They never followed through on it. I believe the reason the property has sat so long is if you, did Darren get the pictures up there? I didn't glance up.
Yeah.
They did do vinyl siding on the outside, so they kind of made the property blend in with the neighborhood. But because it's sat vacant and hasn't been occupied, and the lack of inspections on the permits that were pulled for the work on the inside, and the lack of response or initiative taken by the owner, we're asking for a Blighted designation.
Are there any questions from the committee?
Yes, when's the last time, or have we ever established contact with the current owner who used to be the property manager?
Correct. So we have been sending notices over the last year and a half. We've sent 4 notice of violations, and the owner has called, said, yeah, I'm going to do this and that, but nothing is ever done. Nothing's ever moved forward. And looking back through all of the history, going back to 2006, it's been the same story the whole time.
And he's never contacted or asked for help in navigating the process or anything like that?
No, he also owned a property with 2 houses across the street that he sold to Erie Insurance, and Erie Insurance took and demolished them. The one property in the back, these were both blighted, but one of the properties in the back actually had a collapsed roof.
Is that like between German and Parade?
That's
there
correct.
Around 7?
Yep, yep.
I got you.
Yeah, right next to, I believe it's the old Rite Aid there on the corner. There was 2 houses behind that Rite Aid.
You guys might have to get, give me a little grace for a couple meetings while I kind of bring myself up to what's going on and stuff. So I ask for your grace. And my question asked.
Nope, not a problem.
Thank you.
You're good. Thank you. Motion to blight, Aaron.
Second, anyone?
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion accepted.
All right, up next, we have 546 East 14th Street. This property has been in the deeded owner's name since 2021.
Jesus Christ.
The structure itself is vacant. They're overdue on taxes from 2025 for $754.84. Aaron's showing you guys some photographs. If you did look at the pictures in the rear of the property, I can explain a little bit more. There's no electric meter. There is an active water service, but after talking to someone who is living in that backyard, there's a makeshift structure, a shed. The person living there is not the owner, believed to be homeless. And I met with this person a couple times and I tried to get them help. They denied and say that they have a place to stay, that they're helping the owner. They're there all the time. I believe they're living in the shed. There was a fire reported on February 9th by the fire department that the shed in the back was actually caught on fire. But the lady that is staying on the premises told me that the water lines inside the house are broken, so there's no water usage, but the water is active, and she said that they turned it off because of, the water lines are broke. But we've had eight cases with the current owner. We've sent notice of violations and never got a response from the actual owner. Like I said, EFD was out there in February. There was a fire in the shed, And they actually took photographs when they entered the property to put the fire out, and that was what really brought the attention to what was going on in the back of the property. But to the person who is living in the yard and in the shed, explained to me that no one is living in the house. She said it was kind of a hoarder situation, but she denies help. Steve and myself were actually out there and talked to her last week, said, hey, you know, can we get you some help to try to get you, you know, a place to stay? And she said, no, I have a place to stay, but it's pretty obvious that she's staying there.
Any questions from the committee?
So, so we're only blighting the parcel with the structure?
The house and the property are all in the same parcel.
Okay.
Yep. It's, nobody's living inside the house.
Okay.
There's someone living on the property.
Okay.
Amongst the
You've been there,
stuff.
That, thank you, that was like a precursor to kind of where I was going with the adjacent lot, which seems to be a order situation, which means it's unsafe. And as soon as we can get this desert moving, I would ask that you contact our city refuge department to have that cleaned up immediately, because the neighbors who live next door don't deserve that.
I agree.
It's unsafe. It's gonna breed mice. Erie has a mice problem as it is, and with the hantavirus in the news these days, we want that cleaned up as soon as possible.
Understood.
I've been there within the past year. I actually spoke to her, and she actually opened the doors for me and showed me that you can't even really walk in the house. It's a hoarder situation. She admitted to me that she cannot even go in the house if she needed to. So it's pretty bad.
I deduced that just from the picture on the outside. And sit here, I was like, it looks like a hoarder situation. He says, yeah. So, it's unsafe. Those are the things that the city, if you allow me, that we're working on. We're looking at everything as related to property maintenance and BIU, all our contracts. We're looking at everything. And you probably should attend the conference the press conference in the morning if you're available, because there'll be some information. The mayor's making some moves, and she has the full support of city council. But it's situations like this that we can't. We may not have money, but they don't have to live in filth.
Absolutely.
All right, do we have a motion to blight?
I'll motion.
Second, anyone?
Second, Aaron.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries.
All right, next we have 253 East 25th Street. This property has been in the current owner's name since 2015. The structure is vacant. They are overdue on taxes for 2024 and 2025. They owe $3,348 in taxes. There is no active national fuel, Penelec. There is an active water service there, but the water authority reported to me that there's no usage of the water at the property, and they owe just shy of $800 to the water authority. We've got eight cases with the current owner, 7 notice of violations sent to the current owner, including uninhabitable, high grass, junk and debris, exterior. There was a citation issued after about a year into the current owner's ownership of the property, where they no-showed the hearing and were found guilty twice. There was 2 different citations. The owner neglected to show up, and they were found guilty twice. With the most recent case history, there's only been 1 phone call, and they called in, made some promises, nothing ever happened, nothing changed with the property, and no response to any of the most recent violations that we've sent out. And the most recent one went out beginning of April, and we've got no call since that notice of violation went out. So with the property sitting vacant. It was a little difficult for me to determine just how long it's been vacant, mainly because the water service is still on, and I wasn't able to get the information for how long there hasn't been a usage there. But I know that it's been vacant for some time, and we are asking the committee for a blight declaration.
Committee have questions?
Forgive me for not knowing this, but, and I do realize that a lot of notices go out, no response. But included in those notices, when it gets like to this point, before we declare it, is it a thing anything that says that, hey, this is your final, your house is getting ready to be blighted, or in a sense taken? Because it's like a eminent domain type situation.
Yep, and I'll explain. So we don't have like a pre-blight notification that goes out. All of the notices that go out say that failure to respond could result in further municipal action, lien and that kind of thing, but nothing does say blight. Now, I will explain to Mr. Horton that the blight designation does not mean that we're taking possession of the property. The blight designation is another tool for code enforcement to use to try to get a response and get voluntary compliance. Before the land bank and the redevelopment authority moved to push for blight or push for condemnation and take, they do send out a pre-condemnation notice that gets both posted to the structure and mailed to the owner before they start the actual taking of the property.
Okay, that part right there. Could you just go back to right before that part?
Yep.
I'm kind of slow in the
Yep, so the blight designation does not mean that we're taking possession. The blight designation opens the door for the authority
to enter.
to then look into taking possession of the property. But before they do that, they do send out a notice saying, hey, we're looking at filing condemnation. You need to respond and get into compliance, otherwise we are going to take the property.
Okay, that basically serves as what I'm asking.
Yep. So I pulled up, and so in the packets that Jake puts together, and so the Blighted Property Review Committee is created under the Urban Redevelopment Law, which allowed the city to create the redevelopment authority. So as part of that law, and 12.1 under the Urban Redevelopment Law defines the blighted property process and this committee's role. The sole role of this committee is to affirm and accept that the property meets one of these 9 criteria on this blight standard list. To your question about that, so the notices are an attempt to gain voluntary compliance, as Jake
Right, and so
defined.
And variables in the 9 criteria are the things that get sent out notices. We've contacted the water is off.
Yeah.
It's been off for years. And that would be the 9 criteria list.
Right, so
Gave me bonus information. I love it.
yeah, so, but to say that, a property brought in front of the committee does not require any code enforcement history whatsoever. There is no need. That is simply a policy in which that we've always followed, that we want to make sure that there's been documented action by that office to gain voluntary compliance. That attempt, that there's been multiple attempts been made. It's not a requirement of the law, but it's just an additional step that we have just always had to say that we've made attempts, that there has been action attempted at taking. Now, like this one, any premise, this Jake check number 2, any which is of its physical condition, use of occupancy is considered an attractive nuisance to children, including but not limited to abandoned wells, shafts, basement excavations, or unsafe fences or structures. And keep in mind, blighted property only has to meet one of these criteria for the committee to affirm that it can be declared blighted. Any structure in which utilities, plumbing, heating, sewage. What's that?
It only has to meet one of the 9 criteria?
It only has to meet one. So,
And Mr. Horton, and typically I ask the code enforcement officers for the area, for whichever jurisdiction they have, I say that I'd like to see it meet 2 to 3 of those criteria before I bring it to the board.
Oh, no, I'm impressed
Yep.
with just the way that I've
No.
I absolutely understand. I understand
Oh,
that.
yeah, no,
I absolutely understand.
There is a lot of confusion about the blight designation on a property, and it's certainly something that's on our radar and something that we're gonna work to continue to create outreach and resources to residents to understand what the blight notice is, because there is a lot of mistruths that are spread about, you know, it's blighted, the redevelopment authority took my, that's not the
And
case.
I don't want to spread misinformation or sit there, and if I'm up there, I should know. So if, where can I find that information? Could you just send me that?
Yeah, we can get you a copy of that.
This, yeah, so I can provide, and I've sent it to the board before, and I'll send it again. There's a presentation that we have that kind of goes through the blighted property process.
I'm the only one up here that don't know this stuff.
This one, and so I guess just a note to the question about blight notices. Number 8, actually, any property which is vacant but not tax delinquent, which has not been rehabilitated within 1 year of receipt of a notice to rehabilitate. So code enforcement's attempt to send a notice of violation to gain compliance would qualify if it's been over a year from the first notice to rehabilitate the issues.
Thank you so much for the explanation. Patience.
Yeah, no problem.
Are there any other questions?
Oh, good.
All right, do we have a motion to blight?
I move to that.
Second?
A second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, up next, we have 429 West 8th Street. This property has been in the current owner's name since 2021. It is vacant. They are overdue on taxes for 2025 for $2,182. There is no active National Fuel Service, no Penelec service, and no water service. The water was turned off August of last year, and they owe over almost $5,500 in a water bill. And it was just turned off in August. I've told the committee before, but usually when you see a number like $5,500 owed, it indicates that there was probably a plumbing deficiency inside that structure, and the water authority went in and shut the water off because there was water lines broke inside the structure. We've got 9 cases all time, 5 cases with the current owner. 10 notice of violations have been sent to the current owner. We've got exterior cases, high grass cases, junk and debris sent starting in 2022 with this current owner, and we've had little to no response. I do recall that there was a phone call between the property maintenance inspector and the owner, and they said we want to do X, Y, and Z, and like the typical story goes, they never followed through on X, Y, and Z, and the property has remained vacant. You can see the roof is getting pretty bad on that structure. I'd like to get this blight designation out there. Maybe it's one that we can save. It's on 8th Street. It's a big brick flat. It could be one that's worth, you know, somebody rehabbing. Maybe this blight designation will get the owners to do something with the structure. So that's why we're asking for a blight designation.
Another question. So we established that there is kind of your house is going to be blighted type thing go out. Is there, when these things go out, you say, well, this is wrong and this is wrong. Is there a list of, do we provide a list of?
Andre, excuse me, can you turn your mic on?
Sorry. Do we provide, or could we provide a list of agencies where they might could seek to get that roof replaced or to get the, you know, because there's money. I mean, we have a housing situation. We're certainly not looking, especially if it's an occupied house. There's just, we don't have housing. So I guess my question is there a referral list that could go out or a numbers list that could go out for places like JCAC, St. Martin Center, even some of the local
Yep, I can
contractors?
speak to that. I was a property maintenance inspector, code enforcement officer with the designated jurisdiction for 7 years. And occasionally I would send out a note on my notice of violation to say, hey, if you were in need of help, please contact us for help. But typically, the notice of violation goes out standard. You have X number of days to fix these corrections. When contact is made between the code enforcement officer and the owner of a structure, that's when those conversations can be had. But if we're not getting a response, it's difficult for us to relay the message that, hey, there's opportunity out there. And also, it's important, all the code enforcement officers need to be aware of what avenues there are for people to follow. We recently had a meeting with the redevelopment authority. They explained to us some of the grant money that they have for this year, and the inspectors are sending out notice of violations with a list. You guys had a little flyer that you sent out with a QR code on it that we can scan. So the inspectors now are aware of what opportunity there is. But like I said, we need a response in order for us to initiate that.
Good segue into what I'm saying, because the recurring theme is we send out the notice and we don't get a response. And so the question begs that be asked, well, why don't we get a response? You know, your property, especially if it's something or it's older, or if it's younger, and I'm not suggesting that this body is responsible for all of that, but it just seems to me, just a few times I've been here, it's kind of like gotten into, well, we sent out, and we don't get a response. And so one would have to ask, why aren't we getting responses? And just from a little poor boy that grew up in this city, I know that a lot of times people get paralyzed. You get that note and it's, okay, what do I do? Especially if it's been a death in the family, if it was grandmama's house or whatever. But those are some of the things. I'm kind of weird like that. I walk around thinking of the 6 questions on every situation: who, what, where, when, how, and sometimes why. Who does this affect? How can we help? Where can we get resources? What is the issue? And most of the time, you probably won't be able to. But when you're looking at homes in good neighborhoods or potentially, people can't just not be allowing their house to fall down around them because they want to. And usually there's an issue. And I'm a little bit different from up here because I'm a legislator, and it's my job to try to find policy to stop that type of stuff. You know, we don't want blight. We want new housing. We want up-to-date housing and stuff. But so thank you for your grace. And I'll probably come down and write a bunch of questions and come visit Aaron and his staff because they seem to be.
I will also say that I personally post the notice of blight when they go out, and I get calls. The calls come into the redevelopment authority, and when sometimes the notice of blight is enough to initiate that call, but the notice of violation is not. And that is at the time where I say, okay, well, hey, discuss with the redevelopment authority. There may be some funds to help you. Reach out. I like to try to use that notice of blight as another tool to, hey, if they're going to St. Martin's Center and they need assistance, they can take that notice of blight and say, hey, look, my house is in bad shape. I need help. And they can use that as a tool in their tool bag too.
Yeah, that's right. And so it's not anything of a critique or anything. I'm just trying to see what I could add to it to make it better, or if there's something that could be added to make it better. But
I would encourage the public, if they get a notice of violation from code enforcement, call.
Call code enforcement or
Call the inspector whose name is on that notice. The phone number is on there twice, and their email address is on there as well. So that's what I always encouraged everybody. I said, call. I said, if you don't call me and tell me your story, then I can't help you.
Yeah, because I don't anticipate this getting any less with our older housing stock. I anticipate this getting, would you agree, getting more and more. I heard someone say they're not used to the 2-page agenda. You might get the 3- or 4-page agenda if we don't really get this thing fixed. We're not building enough houses or providing enough quality, affordable, safe housing at the rate or at the scale that's needed. There's a lot of people doing a lot of really good things, this body included, but we're not doing enough. And so those houses are going to get older, those people are going to get older, those prices are going to get higher to repair it and all of that stuff. So I'll try to have some conversations offline in it, because we don't seem that far off from fixing it. We just have to have the political will. And so I keep referring to the press conference tomorrow. We're going to have to change how we do things here around City Hall, not just around property maintenance or blighted properties or anything like that. We're going to have some austerity, and no, we can't hold every citizen's hand through the process, but we at least try to remove any impediments that might prevent them from even seeking relief. So, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, do we have a motion to blight?
Motion to blight, Aaron.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, now we'll move on to,
We got one more.
oh, you got one more?
Yep,
Oh,
second
sorry, I
page.
didn't see a second
Yep.
page. Okay, sorry about that.
We have one more property for declaration of blight. It is 306 East 23rd Street. This property has been in the deeded owner's name since 1965. This property is vacant. They owe taxes for 2023, 2024, and 2025 for just over $2,800. Erie Water Works, water service has been off since 2023. They owe just shy of $1,500 in their water bill. Penelec was off. I was unable to locate the national fuel meter when I was at the property, so I wasn't able to see if it was turned off or not. We've got 3 cases all time going back to 2003. We've had 4 notice of violations sent out recently with little to no response. We had 1 phone call from the owner's daughter in 2024, and there was some health issues with the current owners. They didn't know what they were going to be able to do with the property, and we sent out notice last year, didn't get a response. We sent out notice just back in April, and we didn't get a response. With the property sitting in the condition it's in, you can see that garage in the back is in bad shape. The roof is in bad shape. With it being vacant and concerns about it being rehabbed in the proper fashion, we're asking for a blight designation.
Discussion? Nobody's pulled any permits or anything to try to do anything with it? Okay, good.
Are the owners in town?
That I don't know off the top of my head. So that call from the owner's daughter was in 2024, and from the notes that I read, it didn't look like the owners were going to be around for a lot longer. I didn't do a whole lot of digging to find out if they had passed or when they passed. I just know that the property meets the criteria for blight, and that's why we're bringing it here to the board.
And they've owned that house since '65?
Yeah.
The only thing that really gives me pause about those situations is it's heirloom property, be that as it may, in the condition that it is. There's not a lot, I don't know the ethnicity or the age or whoever owns it. I don't know that it should matter. But I know that the city of Erie, some demographics have like 2.3 or 2.5% home ownership. And I'd be more apt to is that person in town?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
Because if that person was in town, I'd be more apt to, type of guy I am, I'd go knock on their door and ask them what the hell, who owned this property, what's the history of this property. Because like I live in a property that my dad moved into when he was 5 years old. I mean, I kept it, I updated it, but it's, we've been in the house 100 years. And my biggest worry is my children. I mean, you don't worry when you're gone, but yeah, I took pretty good care. I've been a pretty good steward of it. I updated everything, and I don't want somebody to come take it for taxes or any of that stuff. But
Yeah, what I typically see in a situation like this, being as far behind on taxes, with an elderly owner, possibly deceased, the children or the next of kin may have looked into what the condition of the property is.
just walked away.
That is correct.
Yeah, I was to elaborate on what Jake said is, this isn't an odd situation. This is something that we see a lot in the properties that we ultimately end up acquiring. Elderly couple, owned the property, resided there for many years. Kids moved out of the city. Parents passed away or were moved into a home. None of the children wanted to take ownership or responsibility for the property. A lot of our cost now is working to open estates and clear inheritance tax on properties. That seems to be the biggest hurdle for children of the original owners, is that when they pass away,
There's no
the
will.
children have to open an inheritance. They have to open an estate with the Department of Revenue and pay the inheritance tax.
on the
And they don't
probate.
want to do that. And so the blight notice, as we said, it's a tool. The blight notice goes there. I look, the address of record comes back to this property. So there is no other, without Jake doing his due diligence to find heirs to the property, we'll blight it. We'll hope that somebody will communicate. We have the pathways for them to donate the property over to the land bank or the redevelopment authority so we can move forward. But it's a matter, it's that communication. It always goes back to trying to, every avenue that every individual who touches this property, to get them to communicate. We need to find out and try to, so we can navigate what is possible for the property.
Well, I bet when older people do pass, and a lot of times they don't have their business affairs in order to the probate process and all of that. And in some cases, if you're fortunate where the family at least was close enough where they just kind of keep paying and hope it doesn't. But in a lot of these cases, and you'll start to see more of them too as our citizens get older. But thank you, Jake and Aaron, for such great explanations too. It's really helping me.
All right. Anybody else? All right, do we have a motion to blight? Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that one passes. All right, now we'll move to the intent to renovate. We have anybody coming forward for these properties?
Is anyone in the audience for 2801 Holland Street?
Come up and speak.
If you could come up to the podium. All right, the committee is getting the statement of intent to renovate. Thank you. There's a list of questions on the podium. If you could prepare and answer those questions for the committee as they review and evaluate, and then they'll ask you any questions regarding the property and your intent as defined on your statement.
Yes, so.
If you could say your name and
Yeah.
your address
All right,
for the record, please.
yeah. So my name is Aaron Green, and my address is 1146 Buffalo Road, Erie, Pennsylvania, 16503. And so, do I have any other properties that are declared blighted or currently subject to code enforcement action? If so, my plan is to renovate said properties. I've issued forward intent to renovate blighted property with the details of some of my plan. So I own 3 blighted properties. I actually live in one. It's still on the list, but the exterior needs some work, and I need to soften and fascia to get off of the blighted list, I believe. That was what was requested of me before. But I live in that property, actually, and it's been renovated to completion inside, but the exterior needs some work. The other properties that I own that are blighted are 2801 Holland, which Aaron just mentioned. That property needs to be renovated, a full renovation. The inspectors have come by, done a look inside, and so I'm getting ready to start the process. I pushed forward proof of funds. I sold a property in Las Vegas to gain some equity and funds, and that's what's issued there. I have a PNC bank statement that I pushed forward that shows proof of funds to do the renovations. Also, I have retrieved some invoices for quotes to get everything up to code with Erie Waterworks, because I don't have water there. I tried to do some electrical work, but I had some problems with the company. Just kind of, they halfway did things, and then they didn't get it turned on. I paid them, but they didn't get it turned on. So basically I was switching the panel box, and before I came before you guys before, and I was trying to 2-unit the property, and I spoke with the committee before, and they declined the zoning ordinance to turn it into a 2-unit, but I set up a second panel box and paid for electrical to be rewired on a new panel box, but basically they came and the people I had to do it they pulled a permit, but it was too long ago, and they didn't finish, so the utility was never turned on. But now I'm working with a different contractor I'm looking to work with to get the electricity turned on. And I've also pushed forward some plumbing quotes. We got Absolute Plumbing, looking at repairing the gas lines and doing the water lines, finishing up the water lines. There's some work that's been done there. Some of the wiring is there, but it needs to be completed. Also, the drain lines in the basement are damaged and they need to be replaced. There's some beams that need to be repaired that I've also, or that you guys, the building inspector, I believe, had spoke with my general contractor about getting that taken care of. So I was kind of waiting on this committee review because I have the funds. So just because I just sold the property in the end of April, and so now I have the funds, but so I'm just kind of waiting for the committee review to move forward with some of the faster movement of pace to renovate. What do we have here? So what has changed today that gives this committee confidence? I believe what has changed, or that this property will actually be rehabilitated when it has remained in its current condition to date. One of the biggest things for me is the funding that I've received. I didn't actually have the funding before, but being that I just sold a property in Las Vegas, which was my residence before, I have basically I have the funds to expedite the process. So, and do I currently have financial capacity to complete this rehabilitation? Yes. I know I don't have the best record as far as removing myself from blighted property lists, but I have done some good work at Buffalo Road, and also I sold, I know you guys can't see it, but in Las Vegas, there was some work done to a property that I was living in, and it was sold as well. So who's actually responsible for completing this work? What commitments have already been made? Contractors. So I had spoke with Matthew Shalcom from Shalcom Electric, and he's also agreed to finishing the electrical work at 2801 Holland after the committee review. I've also spoke with Tin Leaf Airflow, or Air, their heating and cooling. But they said they can do some HVAC work, also been working with Jacob Loftus, General Contracting, who's actually in the stands back there, who I plan to work with you guys directly to repair the damage of the beams and support in the basement, and also I have plans to, he's also issued me some quotes to do the exterior siding, to also paint, and move forward with the renovation. I need windows and some other things done. I've also, so yeah, I guess I'm responsible, along with my contractors are responsible to handle the permits and work directly with you guys to get things going. If this committee accepts my statement and I fail to meet the agreed milestones, what should happen? I spoke with Aaron a bit already about what happens with the contracts, what it looks like. The property is listed as condemned, so I don't want it to be condemned. I'm looking to try to renovate the property. So I understand what actually happens if I don't renovate in the time. So I understand that that will be condemned, or the land bank will take it. I understand the process. So I get what will actually happen. And I understand the law that you guys have the ordinances to actually take control of the properties. So I'm looking forward to renovating. All right. So why should this committee believe this rehabilitation plan and not simply an effort to delay enforcement or acquisition? I believe you guys should believe this because I actually enjoy the process. I know you guys I don't have the best credibility for the guard, but the contractors I'm using this time should be generally, all of them licensed, and they're reputable in the city as well. And I have the funds, so I believe that you guys should believe this effort to renovate the property, simply because the people are accredited and licensed, the contractors moving forward, and also I have the funds to pay these licensed contractors.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
I got a question. Just so I have a complete understanding, are you saying that you've changed contractors as far as electricians?
Yeah, I was working with Harper Electric, and they were kind of using, I guess, some of their journeymen to do the work, and it was kind of a slower process, so the electrical thing got slowed up. But I did actually pay for full electrical service. Sam came and inspected it, and he approved it, but it wasn't fully completed. They were supposed to, I guess, get it turned on and kind of finish it, but just didn't have the best. I guess the contractor, just kind of didn't finish it properly. So I'm looking at working with somebody, a larger company here, and somebody that's, I guess, fully contracted, more workers that can move faster.
Okay. And the next question is, you said you called and you talked to some people. Now, Mr. Horton had said earlier about different resources and things. Did you discuss the different resources and help that was available, that may be available to you?
I didn't actually know there were resources. I tried to reach out to the city about the water line because I have the steel galvanized water line that has lead in it. So I did reach out to the Erie, the city of Erie, tried to communicate, but they said that the funding wasn't coming for 2 years. So I just went ahead and excavated the line from the street to the house just recently, a little bit ago. But yeah, I knew they were doing that. So I did try to do that, but they said they weren't going to be releasing the funding for 2 years in that particular area. So I didn't actually do that. But actually, I did communicate with the city somewhere else, and they said they will, on another blighted property I have at Wayne, and they said they will do a construction easement, and because they're coming down the street, they're marking the street, and they're going to excavate all the lines on the street. So they said I was on the abandoned list, but they said they'll actually, they're going to go ahead and do that one for me.
Okay. Well, I would just encourage you to continue to reach out. There's a lot of different resources that that can possibly help you, a lot of different agencies. It seems like you are putting forth effort to get things done, so I would just encourage you to reach out for more resources.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mayor? Thank you, Mr. Green. I know it takes a little courage to come up here and stand sometime. And it seems like you're standing there with your hat in your hand, but something you keep saying bothers me. And so you keep saying, why I know why you should believe me, or you probably don't believe me because I don't have the credibility. What does that mean?
I guess I don't have the credibility as far as rehabilitating other properties in the city. So I just was thinking that.
Have you rehabilitated other properties?
Not exactly fully rehabilitated. I've done some solid renovation.
Right. So this is kind of something, would you say that you worked on 1 or 2 houses, 3 or 4 houses?
Maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, which is not a bad thing. And so not a lot of people have credibility when they come up here, unless they come from a family and they've had that favoritism thing where they're established. So a developer, a person like me looks for a developer like you. And most things that I've tried, I failed before I succeeded. I learned some stuff every step along the way. You're the type of person that I take a shot on, because I'm standing here looking at you. You seem like you went and you did your due diligence. You found out what it costs, and I work around that field. I know what it's like to have a bad contractor and have to retool and lose money too. But you said that you recently sold a property, and so you're better financially to fund some of the things that you listed on this list that need to be done. Is that what I heard?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So you're fully able and willing and able to invest, to knock these items off on your statement of intent to renovate. I see I've worked with some of these companies, and they're pretty reputable too. I was looking at the pictures on there too, and I kept looking back. I could see the PEC lining, plumbing, and whatever. I don't know. Look, I can't remember who your plumbing what person was on there, but Netherlands is a pretty good damn company. And so your HVAC stuff will be on point. I have no problem, and I'll stand here and tell my colleagues I intend to vote in the affirmative to move this project along, because nobody gets this right. Very few people get this right the first time. If you're a baseball player and you bat 3 out of 9, you go to the Hall of Fame. You got 1 out of 3, right? And so I look forward to, you seem young enough to where you might become a really good partner and a really good developer. But the thing that I would encourage is that when you go out this stuff on your own, this gentleman right here, Mr. Snipper, he has a very, very talented, capable staff. They can almost kind of, a lot of people, because process matters. You can do stuff all willy-nilly all over the place and do all the right things, and it'd be out of sequence, and you add 6, 8, 9 months, a year to your project. But they're here to help you, their expertise, and they have some of the finest staff. And it's not, you won't always be Mr. Snipper, but he has some good staff members in there. Questions go a long way. But I commend you for staying in the fight, and I want you don't have to come in here with your head down. You put your shoulders back and your head up, because very few young guys your age are doing things or undertaking these type of things, and we want people like you to remain in our city. What you've demonstrated to me here today is that you're moving resources from Las Vegas and you're willing to invest into the city of Erie and stuff, and that's not a small thing. So you come here and you smile, and we can help you with your verbiage, because you come here, you don't have to, you get your hat in your hand, well, I know I don't. No, the truth is you do deserve it, and we should take a chance on you. We shouldn't take a chance on all these old people who've been doing it. We'll try them too, but we want young people to come in here and establish businesses and homes and families where they can recreate, grow, and go to school and raise their children. So thank you. I know it takes a lot of courage. You can put your head up, your shoulders back, brother. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Green, can you clarify, is it going to be a single-family residence, or are you going to attempt the zoning variance for two-family?
No, I tried the zone of variance already, so I'm just gonna single family.
It's staying single-family? Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Green, I see that you're a substitute teacher.
Yes.
You're very prepared. I would just recommend that you, nothing against anybody in your packet, but I would recommend that you get multiple quotes for your projects. That's
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'll move to accept.
Okay. Second, anyone?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you again. And if you, I'm City Councilman Horton. If there's anything that I can help you to facilitate or just walk through or navigate any of this stuff, then please don't hesitate to reach out. My office is right there on the other side of that door.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Anybody representing 535 East 23rd Street?
That's between Wallace and Harris.
Nobody? Okay. All right, we have anybody representing 560 East 9th Street? So if you could state your name and your current address, and then prepare to answer the questions for the committee that are in front of you.
My name is Nordine Jabor. My address is 601 East 6th Street.
Is that list still
You this list?
the list of questions?
Yeah. The address is 560 East 9th Street that I'm working on. It's a 2-unit duplex. What's the change? Yeah, I just need a little more time. I got four permit pulled, building, electric, and building, electric, plumbing, and heating. The change. And I got the money to finish it. Probably need about like 3-4 more months, and just gotta do a little bit of heating and some plumbing work. That's it.
Who's going to be responsible for completing the work?
I got pre-heating, and I got Jack Walsh for plumbing.
If the committee accepts the statement of intent to renovate and you fail to meet the agreed milestones, what should happen?
I would get it done for sure. 'Cause the first unit is done. It's just I'm working on the second unit.
Do you own any other blighted properties or properties in code enforcement action?
No.
Do you have the finances needed to complete the renovation?
Yes.
Should the committee believe that this rehabilitation plan is not simply an effort to delay enforcement or acquisition by the redevelopment authority?
Say that one more time.
Why should the committee believe that this isn't just a delay of enforcement action?
It shouldn't. Jake had seen, and came over there and took pictures, and everything in there is brand new. From top to bottom, new roof, new siding, new windows, new plywood, everything is new.
Are there any other questions?
I got the same question as I had before. Have you asked for help? Have you sought out any resources from the city?
Nah,
Or
I never did that.
Is there a reason why?
I just, I was just working on it, and I got so far ahead, I just got a little behind, and I just,
Okay. I would just say that, and this is speaking from experience also, I've had some properties blighted myself,
Okay.
and I'm sitting on the board.
Yeah.
So, reaching out, communication
okay,
has always been my best, I would say, my best chance of getting any real help. And if they didn't have the resources with them, they pointed me in the right directions and who to go to and who could possibly help. More than, and people may not even understand this, but they want you to keep your house.
yes,
They don't want to take it. They want to do everything they can to make sure that you have the resources and the know-how to do what you're doing. And I applaud you. You said you're done with the first unit,
yeah,
and you're already on the second, and you're doing it without the help that's out here for you.
yeah,
So I applaud that, and I would say just keep up that effort, but look, put some resources. There's nothing wrong with a little help.
okay, thank you.
I don't want to mislead you on the amount of help that's out here, because it's really not a lot of help out here, but there are some revolving loan plans. Grant programs tend to be more for new home ownership, owner-occupied, and there's some entities that could probably point you in the right direction for some for that type of funding. But there are revolving loan funds. There are agencies like GDIC, Greater Erie Economic Development Corporation, and Diverse Erie that you might do well to have some conversations with. I'm looking at the pictures. I know that it's a slow process. I know how you can hit a hiccup. I know that there's a lack of journeymen qualified to do some of that work. And they're eating pretty well right now because there's not a lot of people who do it, and so therefore your timeline, you can go on a waiting list. You want tree down, you can ask now, and you might not get it down till July or August. So the same with the electrical and the plumbing, HVAC work. But I applaud you for making an investment into the city of Erie. Certainly there are other places that you could have gone in the surrounding area of the other 37 municipalities that make up Erie County, but you chose to invest. And I saw you and your mother when I come into the hallway. You put a smile on my face. It's always good to see new people to the city embrace the way of life here. And nothing says embrace the way of life here than try to find you a good quality, affordable, safe house. So I applaud you.
Thank you.
And you have my vote on this.
Okay. We have a motion to accept?
I make a motion.
Second? Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank
Don't
you.
let us down.
Okay. Now we move on to, is there any correspondence standard into the record?
I have no correspondence.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Aaron.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Getting out there on time.